Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Truth Vanguard here. This is a particularly very special episode on this one, okay? He's going to go into a lot of populism and a lot of different things, but pay very, very, very close attention to what he's saying here, okay? Because it's going to go in, and I'm going to go in at the end of this video and give you guys examples, okay? So let's do this.
You have the internet, you have email, and people think that the internet is synonymous with the later developments like social media or smartphones, but they're not. They're distinct. We've had internet, email, personal computers for a long time. But smartphones and social media, that achieved mass adoption way later than you think. It happened around 2012. And I always think, is it any coincidence that I think the adoption of smartphone and social media hit more than the majority around about 2012 or 2013? Is it a coincidence that it was in the very next election in 2016 that you saw the rise of right-wing populism? Because
Wow.
they are distinct. It's like you got iPhone in 2009, Twitter, YouTube around about the same time. They reach this adoption about 5 years later. Then you get populism. Then you get Occupy. Very soon after, you get right-wing populism. And what happened right after Trump won? You had the antithesis. You had censorship. You had a government attempt to cool off a very hot technology. And they did it through things like this. It was Christchurch. It was, the various other mass shootings, Dylan Roof, among others. It was not even just the social media. They tried to get the telecom companies involved, the domain registrars. There was like a full-fledged attempt to basically undo the development of this like very hot medium of information. You know, the medium is the message. And what you've seen in reverse, that's not mine, by the way. I'm
No,
borrowing that.
Malcolm McLuhan.
Right,
I know, but I was
right,
thinking about it
McLuhan.
today. Carry on, please. Well, I'll follow
Yeah,
up on that.
absolutely. And what you've seen now in the past 5 years, what's really interesting to me, this is yet to me unresolved. All of that has now been reversed. Elon acquired Twitter in 2022. TikTok, coming from China, has different regulations than American social media because they don't have the same kind of NGOs and nonprofits advising them about political speech. So between TikTok and Twitter, you now have a liberalized social media. Then you have others like YouTube, Instagram, they're following suit. Why is it that social media is opening up? Could it be that AI models are being trained on social media because to get the best LLMs, they need the most data, and the data comes from the posts of as many people as possible? That's one postulate. Maybe it's political, but clearly, the convulsions of the past 10 years, they're taking place on social media, from an open social media to a censored social media, back to an open social media. You can map political events onto that. The rise of populism, the pandemic and the Ukraine war, the kind of second wave of populism. You could also map onto it the rise of these even next, the fifth generation, which is AI, and all the.
So it's very, very interesting here the way he gives these examples because he's absolutely right. Like, if you actually think of populism and how these power play and dynamics go on, like, think about Donald Trump in the 2016 election. The whole ran on, drained the swamp, classic populist appeal. What else? The Brexit from UK 2016. We have Yellow Vest movement of France 2018, where the working class protests over fuel taxes and inequality. Mass populist energy from that, which framed as people versus elites in the Paris. We had Bernie Sanders in the US 2016 and 2020, which was left-wing populism. The 1% versus the 99% framed Wall Street and the billionaires as elites against ordinary workship. Even censorship tied to populism. We had Trump social media bans in 2021, the COVID-19 debate in 2020 to 2021, the farmer protests in India in 2020, which was basically a populist uprising against agricultural reforms. Social media posts supporting farmers were taken down at government request. It was wild. And populism rises whenever ordinary people feel elites are choking them out, okay? Censorship, though, is the establishment's reflex when populism grows too loud. And that's the whole thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that the censorship is to keep people quiet from speaking truth, but truth doesn't go away. It just vibrates on emotional energy. The more energy and output we as humans and mankind get to have, the more that the earth is going to vibrate in this resonance, and people are just going to keep waking up from the nightmare, from things, and believing what media, the news is telling them, and people are waking up, you know. And to give you an example too, whether it was Trump, Brexit, or the yellow vest, when people rise, the system always tries to silence them. Think about Andrew Tate, how they try to silence him and calling him toxic masculinity, when really, in my opinion, he was actually doing pretty good, showing men how to be men in other areas where a lot of the Gen Zs, and the Gen Alphas were struggling. You know, I mean, of course, Gen Alphas are still pretty, you know, young at the time, but that was something that they did not like, especially when feminism was just trying to cause havoc the last like 4 years. It's just been nuts. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I'm going to put a comment down there at the bottom just to ask you what's your thoughts on this video. Let me know. Please like and subscribe. I got a lot more coming for you guys, and I hope you like these videos. Thanks so much.